Have you been wishing to speak to your higher versions of self, to speak to collective consciousnesses or galactic beings, aliens, you in other lives? If you have been looking to connect into higher dimensions, I have an exercise for you today. Actually, it's two of them. You can use either one or both, but these exercises are how I was trained to be able to shift my consciousness into other dimensions, to reach other higher dimensional beings and collective consciousnesses and communicate with them. And that's how I do my sessions now, is by bilocating and merging with archangels, galactic beings, my higher selves, my soul, the soul collective, all that is, really anybody. Welcome to your multidimensional journey. I am Tracy Canberra, and today we're going to dive into bilocating and merging with other beings. And I'm very excited for this one because we are finally more coherent with the frequencies to make bilocating much easier. So let's get started. Today, I am with my Arcturian Collective, one of my higher versions of self. And I met my Arcturian Collective about 13 years ago, maybe. One of my favorite places to meet new aliens and work with them was doing my daily runs around Bell Rock and Courthouse Butte in Sedona. And they showed up one day. And when they showed up, they, being a collective, they are 11th dimensional now. They were 10th dimensional as I met them. Because remember, as we are ascending, everyone is always ascending. Every soul spark, every aspect of souls, all souls that are aspect of source, everyone is expanding their frequency always. So we're not the only ones ascending. Everyone is. So on my Bell Rock run, I all of a sudden saw with my inner vision this huge collective of energies. It always reminds me of a box of mercury glass ornaments, Christmas balls. They were more crystalline, more misty, but it was just these spheres of different colors of light. 2,500 of them, give or take. It was a lot, they're telling me. 2888, that's how many there are within this collective, 2888. So they came into my presence and I stopped dead in my tracks and I told them telepathically, I want the information from you, but I can't conceive of being enclosed in this gumball machine, in this sphere of all these other little spheres. It was like being in an old-fashioned gumball machine, which, by the way, is how I see your soul. All of the soul sparks are contained within the soul. Old-fashioned gumball machine. So I said, I can't do it. I can't. I'm listening to all 2,800 voices at once, and it's completely overwhelming me. So we got to figure this out. So I said, one person has to step forward. So all of the other voices kind of drowned out and one stepped forward. And I was like, that's fabulous, but I can't talk to a Christmas ornament. I need a person. And I don't watch movies because I see things 2 seconds ahead. So I haven't watched movies in like 15, 20 years because it's not very fun. I don't do it in books, so I just read books. So one person steps forward and he turns into what I imagine is Gandalf, because don't persecute me in the comments, but I've never watched Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. And so I think it was Gandalf, little dude with a gray beard and a cloak with a hood on, so I couldn't really see his face. And I said, okay, what do I call you? Which is what all of my clients ask me. Beings use energy signatures. We know who they are by their energy signature, so they don't always name themselves. You can name them. You can call them whatever you like, and sometimes they do give names. But I said, I need a name. What do I call you? And I'm saying he because it looked like a little guy with a gray beard. He said Eli. No, he didn't say Gandalf. He said Eli. And so I called him Eli. And when I asked for a body, all of those crystalline spheres, they all looked like elves like Eli, with hoods. And so all of a sudden it was thousands of hooded short people instead of all the crystal spheres of different colors. But they stayed quiet and only Eli talked. And I probably worked with Eli in that way for about 2 years before they said, okay, your frequency is ready. You can now start to interact with all of us at once. And they did this exercise, which I'm going to throw in here because it was really helpful in getting me to speak with a collective. But I think the energies now, again, 13 years later, it's a lot easier to speak to a collective. It's a lot easier to harmonize all the voices and hear them as a collective. They put my awareness, my consciousness in a white room, like a white box. Everything was white. And then they showed up and I got comfortable with feeling all of their energies. So I stayed in that white box with them until I could feel their individual energies and as a collective energy. So I would kind of bounce to one and then bounce back to the collective, bounce to one, step back to the collective. And I would do it over and over again until I got a real feel for how I could dive into an individual consciousness and then pull back out into a collective consciousness. When I was good at that, and honestly, that at the time took me weeks. When I was good with that, we started with the speaking. So instead of almost 3,000 people speaking at once, I would hear the low murmur of the collective. And when I wanted to get a collective message, they would come together into one voice. And then as I was listening to the one voice, Eli would tell me, now, see that blue sphere way off in the back? Jump your consciousness, bilocate, jump into that sphere and listen to them. So I would jump into that sphere and hear their perceptions, their views, because as a collective, they still each have their individuality and they have their own perceptions, but they all contribute to the collective voice. It's really kind of fascinating when you think about it. Fascinated me, still does. So I would jump my consciousness into that beautiful blue sphere and have a conversation with them and then pull back out to the collective and then jump to the yellow one on the other side of the white room and then pull back. And I just kept bouncing back and forth. I didn't know at the time that that was my precursor to bilocating because bilocating is almost the same. Although with this exercise, I was merging my consciousness, jumping to them and coming back out again in that white room. And I already had seen the whole collective. With bilocating, it's almost fake it till you make it. Use your imagination first. And by locating, you're deciding who you wish to connect with, and you are creating the scenario, the situation, the looks of the being. You are creating everything, whether it be your 10th dimensional Palladian or your 6th dimensional Lemurian or your 5th dimensional Atlantean, whether it's a collective or whether it's an individual. You are setting the stage and having the conversation, and that is allowing your awareness and consciousness to move to their frequency, their dimension. And when you finally merge with them, things start to change. They answer sentences you wouldn't have said, things you don't know. They may change their looks or how they're dressed. The situation most always changes. So that's when you know you're there and you have a conversation, and then you practice going there over and over again until it becomes easy. And then you do it again for another being. And just like me with the Arcturians in the white room, practice bouncing into, merging with, and then coming back out to merge with the collective as a whole. Well, it's the same with bilocating, where when you've practiced going to your Palladian self and you've got that down pat and you can do it easily, then you pick another being, like say your Lemurian self, and you practice that until you can do it easily. Then you move up to split screen, where you ping your Palladian self, you ping your Lemurian self, and you go back and forth between the two very easily while you still have a modicum of consciousness sitting in your room within your body. So you're still breathing, you're still hungry or thirsty, whatever you'd be. And if you'd like, you can merge the two into one collective consciousness and talk there. I don't do that very often because I really like immersing myself in their frequency. So I don't usually mix their frequency. But believe me, a 7th dimensional Lemurian can merge into a 10th dimensional Palladian a whole lot easier than I can. So, in a nutshell, those are the two techniques that I was taught to learn how to bilocate and merge with my higher versions of self. I merge with any beings now. They don't have to be part of my soul, they can be of other souls, and all that is source energy. I do not merge with God. I don't bilocate there because I've had a couple of near-death experiences, and when you sit at the feet of God and decide whether you're going back down or not, you really don't wanna meet them again until you go back home, right? So, I generally don't speak to God. And I was Catholic for a while, so I've got that programming in me too, you know? He's kind of busy. So I usually leave God for the life and death experiences, and I speak to all that is because it's easier for me and I can connect very deeply. So that's me personally. But try these exercises. Try to connect in with your soul, any other life that you've had, whether it be on earth or higher dimensional. The soul has thousands of lives, if not infinite lives. I see it every week in my client sessions. So if you want to tune into a Palladian, trust me, you are one. If you want to tune into Atlantean, you are one. So many people resonate with either Atlantean or Lemurian. And trust me, you're both. You have lives on both sides. The soul wants to play it out both ways. So that could be very fascinating for you. Tune into your Atlantean lives, your Atlantean selves, and see what role you played in the destruction or non destruction. Because remember, the destruction of Atlantis was only one timeline, only one reality. There are infinite realities playing out all the time. So Atlantis did not get destroyed, and neither did Lemuria, and many, many other realities. So try to jump into your Atlantean self and then jump into your Lemurian self. And here's a hint. Believe what you're doing, because if you're going to spend all of this energy attempting to bilocate and merge with other beings, you need to have faith and trust and belief that you're doing it. Because if you believe you're not doing it, or if you're confused whether you're doing it, well, then that's true. So just believe you're doing it. Doesn't matter if it feels like a cartoon, just believe you're doing it. And when you do merge, say you go in and you bilocate to your Lemurian self, you don't know if this was you in another life or it's somebody else. It doesn't matter. I always say in client sessions when I take people into other lives, if you see them with a blue dress on and I see her with a green dress on, it doesn't matter because we're looking from different perspectives. We could be one timeline apart, one page over from each other in the book of life. So it doesn't matter. It gets easier, you get better, you start seeing the same things. Just start practicing because it is a fabulous exercise and it is a precursor to contact. And that's one of my upcoming podcasts about contact and disclosure. So try the exercises, believe you're doing it, have fun with it, just roll with it, see what you see. Try to go back to the same one. If it doesn't work, go to a different one. Travel the universe, travel the multiverse, but have fun with it, believe you're doing it. And if you want help with it, book a session with me. I will work with you and your soul, and we'll get you in the frequency and we'll get you to these other lives. So try it on your own. Try it with me and your soul. It's up to you. But if you are on YouTube, please leave in the comments if you tried it, if you can already do it, how it works for you. Have you tried any other methods? Share with the community because we're all here helping each other to ascend as we help ourselves. Thank you so much for listening and for your like and comment and subscribe. And I'll be back with you soon. And the Arcturian Collective says they welcome you to visit them. They are very happy to work with you on bilocating and sending you much love. And we're out.